Aida for telling my dad's mistress and now wife that she's disgusting and repulsive to try and use a kid to her advantage during her affair. My dad had an affair with my mom's supposed best friend Cheryl. 3 years ago Cheryl pulled me 15M aside and told me about the affair and that she wanted my help to make my siblings still love her when they found out. She was someone we were all close with. I'm the baby of the family and the favorite of everyone, which I don't see as true, but it's a bit of a joke and I am the baby so I do get people looking out for me more. This is something Cheryl tried to use to her advantage. She put me in the worst position by telling me about the affair because she hoped my siblings would love me too much to hate her if I told them not to. I was so angry at her and at dad. I didn't want to be the one to tell mom. I didn't want to see her break down. But I knew I needed to. Mom was furious, more at Cheryl for involving me than the affair at first. My dad defended Cheryl and said she had known me my whole life and should be allowed to confide in me. It turned into a really big fight. My siblings hated them more for trying to involve me too. During the divorce we all said we wanted to stay with mom. The judge ruled I had to go to my dad's until I was 14. So for 2 years I had to go to dad's house every other week. I made it my mission to make life harder for them that whole time. I refused to go along with the happy family shit they tried to pull. Which only got way worse when Cheryl was pregnant and they wanted to do a pregnancy reveal with me in it and I said no. After the baby was born they thought I would soften and would want to know their baby, I didn't. The last time I was at their house Cheryl was pregnant again. I turned 14 and stopped going. I refused to answer texts from them either can't block my dad until I turn 18. My siblings have them both blocked and they refuse to engage with them. Cheryl and my dad's families are living closer to them now and both ask about us and why we're not around. Dad's family have tried to reach out and get me to reconcile but I told them it would not happen and I hate my dad. Cheryl confronted me while I was at the mall the other day. She followed me into different stores and said I have 2 younger siblings I should know and that I loved her before so I should stop punishing her and dad and start being more respectful. I had enough when I realized she wasn't going to walk away and I told her she's disgusting and repulsive for trying to use me to her advantage, a 12-year-old kid, when she was having an affair with dad. I told her I would never show her any respect and she and dad could explain to their kids why they'll never be part of mine or my siblings' lives. But I'm not going to let them guilt me into anything. She has used dad's phone a bunch since then and I got over 100 texts already. Mom told them to stop and bullying a child after all they did makes them look even worse. The response back was I'm a disrespectful child who should be taught better. Aida. New story. Aida for yelling at my dad and grandparents for standing by my older half-siblings over me. I'm 16M, an affair baby. My dad's first wife was terminally ill and he had an affair with my mom throughout the 2 years of her life and I was the result of that, born just after she died. My parents got married a month later and filed for divorce 4 months later and dad got custody of me. Dad's kids from his first wife hated me. They hated him too. But they despised me. They called me disgusting, said I should never have been born. They told me they wished I could have died instead of their mom. It was awful. They were 11 and 12 years older than me so old enough to be aware of what dad did and old enough to really hate me. Dad married for a 3rd time when I was 5 and he had 3 more kids with my stepmom. My half-siblings cut contact with us but we would see them at our grandparents' house sometimes and they used to be nicer, though not loving exactly, to my younger half-siblings. They would always make sure I could see them treating them better too. My stepmom would brush me off if I mentioned how they treated me. Dad did nothing and my grandparents used to scold me for not spending time with all my siblings during family holidays and stuff, which is when we saw them most frequently. If I mentioned why I was isolated they would tell me it was all in my head. I had some really fucked up self-esteem issues for a while. I also know my family treated me like it was no big deal because I'm a guy and if I'd been a girl I can almost guarantee my feelings would have mattered more to my dad and grandparents. So the yelling thing happened 2 weeks ago. We were all gathered to celebrate my grandma's birthday. All the extended family were together and grandma wanted a photo of all her grandkids and great-grandkids, she has a few, including from one of my half-siblings. My older half-siblings said they refused to be in a photo with me and refused to have their kids be in a photo with me and asked grandma if she really wanted a disgusting affair baby in the photo. Grandma was like of course, we're all her grandkids. One of my younger half-siblings asked what that and one of my older half-siblings told them dad cheated on their mom and had me while their mom was dying and it made me disgusting. I was still expected to get in the photo. I looked to my dad and my grandparents who kept encouraging me to get in. Which is when I lost it and started yelling at them for standing by my half-siblings more than me. I asked how they expected me to be okay after shit like that is said and nobody says a damn thing. I was scolded some more and grounded for ruining my grandma's birthday and raising my voice at them. Aida. New story. Aida for refusing to give my husband an allowance and forcing him to get a job. My husband was laid off 8 months ago from being an oil and gas analyst. I'm still working and he has been a temporary stay-at-home dad while he hasn't found work. He watches our 3-year-old and picks up our 6-year-old from school. I'm not happy with this arrangement because when I was a stay-at-home mom for a year after giving birth to them, I did all the housework and took care of the kids. I still do most of the housework when he was unemployed and he only mows the lawn and shovels the driveway in winter now. But it's better than us having to put our 3-year-old as daycare, so I let it go. I'm a nurse and work a lot of odd hours now because we are short-staffed and we need the money. I've been working 60 to 70 hours a week. Recently I found out my husband has been taking cash advances out on our credit cards so he can go out and has been paying nannies using the cash. He opened a credit card to go drinking and who knows what else, and now it's maxed out at $7,000. I know at least $2,000 has been in-game purchases for his video games. I'm pissed because we don't have any extra money to spare and he hasn't been using his time applying for jobs, instead he has been going out and drinking and playing video games. I didn't find this out until his credit card bills came with threatening collections. My husband defended himself when I showed it to him and said he needed a break and I would nag him if he spent our money, so I should give him an allowance. I'm shocked he has the balls to ask for an allowance. I pointed out for the year after giving birth when I was on maternity leave I took care of everything even when I was postpartum, and now it's too much to ask him to just watch our 3-year-old. Mind you, the second time I was on maternity I was looking after a newborn and our 3-year-old while doing all the housework. He said it was boring and said I chose to do that, but he didn't choose to do this. I told him he is choosing because he doesn't have a job and he got mad and yelled that he is trying. I told him he needs to get a job now. He just got a bookkeeping job and is complaining to everyone he knows I'm being a bitch and not letting him have any freedom.